Preparedness 101 Zombie Apocalypse. It instructs readers on what to do to get ready for an invasion of flesh-eating zombies. The CDC says they're actually the same preparations you might make for a hurricane or tornado. You stock up on food, water, medicine, duct tape, a battery-powered radio. Also, you know where you would go and who you would call if zombies start appearing on your doorstep.
You know, this is baloney. We've been teasing this story for 2.5 hours. There's no zombies. It's just telling you to pack duct tape.
It's not telling you there's not zombies.
That's right. Don't be such a skeptic.
President Obama has signed into law a $662 billion military spending bill that authorizes the government to indefinitely detain American citizens without trial. In a signing statement attached to the bill, Obama said he's signing the bill even though he had, quote, serious reservations.
In our constitutional system, prolonged detention should not be the decision of any one man. If and when we determine that the United States must hold individuals to keep them from carrying out an act of war, we will do so within a system that involves judicial and congressional oversight. And so going forward, my administration will work with Congress to develop an appropriate legal regime so that our efforts are consistent with our values and our Constitution.
You'll construct a legal regime to make indefinite detention legal. You will, what does he say?
Knock it off!
The cops tried to get him off, and he wouldn't come off, so the cops shot him once, and the guy continued to eat the other guy's face.
In fact, when the police official originally told him to stop eating the victim's face, he looked up at the officer and growled.
An update now on a developing story out of Hollywood,
where students have developed a rash. Let's get right to 7's Alex DePrado, who's live at the scene. Alex?
Well, Alexa, since we joined you last, the numbers of affected students has risen here. We're talking about 15 students now and 2 teachers. They were in a building on the 2nd floor.
Yotter is suspected of having killed his boyfriend, 33-year-old Chinese national Yun Lin, and dismembered his body, sending severed body parts to various political party headquarters across Canada.
Cut out his own intestines in front of police and then threw pieces of his flesh and intestines at them. This happened in Hackensack, New Jersey. He's a 43-year-old man.
Somebody from the DOT stopped me and says, "You can't go any further." And then when I look forward, there's a guy on top of another person eating him up, like just tearing his face apart. And I was like, and I try to scream at him, hey, get off of him, It's like the guy he was like a zombie. He was crazy. looking person.
Already grisly murder takes an even more grisly twist. A college student tells police he killed a housemate and then ate part of the victim's heart and brain.
Since we joined you last, the numbers of affected students has risen here. We're talking about 15 students now and 2 teachers. They were in a building on the 2nd floor right over there, that in a reading room in that building here at MacArthur High School in Hollywood. Let's take you now to 7 Skyforce video. Those students and teachers have been decontaminated here at the school, and they are now on their way to Memorial Regional Hospital by county bus. 7 Skyforce captured them getting onto that bus. Again, this all happened in a reading room, room 944 here at MacArthur High School this morning. It is unknown what the substance is that is causing that rash. Now I want to take you to another piece of video that was sent to 7 from inside the school. Students have been moved away to other areas inside the school. In fact, one of those students sent this video to 7. You can see the students gathered in an area, whether this is the gym or the classroom, we're unsure, but all the students have been moved away from the reading room, room 944, which is affected. Right now, the hazmat team is working to figure out what this substance is.
Following these 2 cases for you so far. Amy Copeland, she was that college student in Georgia, was on that zip line, it broke, she fell. She has now lost her leg, her feet, and her hands to what's called necrotizing fasciitis. Also, Lana Kirkendall, she's had 7 surgeries after having given birth to just 2 twins here. Both women have been too sick to speak with reporters, but we now have this 3rd case from Georgia. We've been talking about this recently. He's Bobby Vaughn, who says doctors had to remove 2.5 pounds of his flesh. 2.5 pounds.
When you say eating someone, I mean, it's hard for me to even imagine, like, visually, what did you see?
Him tearing up pieces of his flesh. You know, his ears, his nose, he was like tearing it up and just throwing it away. He was like, that's exactly what exactly how I say it, that's how it was happening. It was really a horrific scene.
What was the victim doing all this time?
He was like kind of out of it. You know, I saw movements in his legs, but he was pretty much out of it.
police officials said, quote, 75 to 80% of his face, the victim's face, was missing.
And he went on to also say he was actually swallowing pieces of the man's face. Now, of course, after the first gunshot, the guy didn't stop, as Anna told you, so then he had to be shot several more times, and he's dead. The victim, amazingly, is not dead. He's in critical condition, but he's in a hospital in the Miami area, and he's still alive. And apparently the LSD-like substance that this Rudy Eugene took was called bath salts. This is the best anti-drug ad in history because they think that it might have had to do with some LSD, some bad LSD he took, and that's a trip you don't want to take.
When the police official originally told him to stop eating the victim's face, he looked up at the officer and growled. Okay, so he was that high that he was acting in that manner.
Police here in Harford County say they have never seen a case of cannibalism, never seen a case like this, a stunning crime, and they say they have no reason to believe the suspect is lying about what he said he did. Investigators say 21-year-old college student Alexander Kanua killed his roommate, then ate his heart and parts of his brain, cutting off his head and hands and storing them inside his family's townhouse on Terrapin Terrace in Harford County.
The arrest follows a massive international manhunt. Magnotta is suspected of having killed his boyfriend, 33-year-old Chinese national Yun Lin, and dismembered his body, sending severed body parts to various political party headquarters across Canada. The killer also videotaped the murder and abuse of the corpse and posted the 10-minute recording online. Canadian police say the investigation is far from over.
The investigation has brought us to the suspect. Now we'll get all kind of other questions beside that. Is there other possible homicide or other crime linked to that person? That will be investigated by our investigators, that's for sure. And after that, as you know, since he's in Germany, we'll have a lot of paperwork to do with these people to bring him back to justice in Montreal, Canada.
Two cops showed up, kicked in the door, they found him in the corner. Initially, Carter just ignored the officer's words to put down the knife. He started stabbing himself in the abdomen, neck, and legs. Police pepper sprayed him, and this had no effect, according to the report by the Associated Press. That's when he started throwing bits of skin and intestines at the officers, and officers then retreated and called the Bergen County SWAT team, which then showed up, was able to subdue Carter and get him to a hospital where he was still in critical condition as of a couple of days ago.